Apple Music lossless audio, should you care? Is it better? Is it worth it? Let's discuss. Hey there, friends on YouTube. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech, so honest it hurts if this is your first time here. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you'll hit the like, subscribe button. Come on back, bell notify yourself so you know when more videos are coming out, because we're covering the audio. We're covering the mobile tech. We're covering all kinds of crazy stuff. So please do that right now or at the end of the video. Whatever. Anyway, let's talk about this lossless audio thing. Here's how this is going to go, okay? So we're going to do the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and finally the how. Okay, so if you want to know the how, you got to stick around to the end, but if you only want to know the who, then maybe you can leave. I'll throw this out as a sort of disclaimer, but this doesn't sort of disqualify anyone who might be watching this video from watching this video, learning things, and maybe improving their situation. If you're a casual music listener, if you don't find it necessary to spend extra money on headphones or anything like that, if you just like listening to music in your car or anything like that, lossless audio is something a little bit different, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be interested in it if you are a music lover. Without further ado, let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about who. Right now, Apple Music is the cause for all this discussion. Apple Music, obviously Apple in general, whenever Apple does something, it starts to generate some buzz. People are becoming aware of it more so than not. And so that's the case here with lossless audio and also spatial audio, which is Apple's thing, and we're not going to cover that in this video. If you want, I will cover it in another video. I'm going to keep talking about this stuff because it's interesting to me, and I'm a geek. Anyway, the why is Apple Music. They're just bringing more attention to it right now. It's not that lossless audio hasn't existed before. It's not that anything like that. It's just that more people pay attention to what Apple does. What is lossless audio? The simplest definition is it is a bit-perfect representation of what the artist sent from the studio to all of the streaming, to anywhere. It's exactly what came out of the studio, exactly what came out of the mastering engineer's final output. It is what the artist intended you to hear without anything taken away. To explain that in a little bit more detail, what we've been hearing in music over the years, MP3s or other lossy kinds of files, is they're a compressed version of what has come from the studio. Generally, a lossless audio file could be, say, 50 megabytes, okay? But an MP3 file could be 10 times smaller than that at, say, like 5 megabytes. So in order to get this 5 megabytes, you have to take things away, and that's why we have lossy, L-O-S-S-Y, instead of lossless. And so what we've been listening to, because of the difficulty in streaming stuff, as the internet has gotten more advanced and we're able to do more streaming at greater bandwidths, lossless has become more of a possibility, and now Apple is offering it to everyone for no additional cost. When can you get this? If you're watching this video, you probably already know, but Apple has put lossless audio on Apple Music now. You can go into the Apple Music settings and select whatever you want to hear in terms of quality. I have a video on how to do that right up here, so you can go check that out if you want to. Every file on Apple Music is not lossless at this point. There are a lot of different, there's digital masters, there's all kinds of different things. You'll see the lossless symbol, the lossless logo, and what that means is that the bit rate and sample rate of the audio is at least 24-bit 48 kilohertz, okay? 16-bit 44.1 kilohertz was CD quality, and that's still lossless, but most of what you'll see on Apple will at least be 24-bit 48 kilohertz. It can go all the way up to 192 kilohertz, but there are arguments about whether or not anyone can hear that or not, and we're not going to get into that in this video. We could. Just let me know if you want to have an argument about that later on. Of course, where can you get lossless audio other than Apple Music? Well, there's Tidal, which offers a lossless codec. Some people say it's not really lossless, but it is, for all intents and purposes, lossless. There's a service called Qobuz, QOBUZ that also offers lossless files streaming. And then, of course, Amazon's digital streaming now offers lossless. Spotify is supposed to start offering some kind of lossless file at some point. Now we start to get to the nitty-gritty of this whole thing. Why would you want lossless audio? Well, that could either be a really easy answer or a really in-depth answer. The easy answer is because it's exactly what the artist intended to be heard when they left the studio, when they got out and said, hey, we're done. That was what the artists, the engineers, everybody who worked on it intended for you to hear in its most pristine state. So that's the biggest why. Most of what we've heard over the years of digital music, ever since Napster and all the way up through this moment, most of what we've heard have been lossy files. They're compressed files like MP3s that, as I said before, are much smaller files than the lossless files that they are made from. And also, a lot of the music listening that we do today is done via Bluetooth. And Bluetooth doesn't have the ability to stream the bandwidth necessary to get lossless files from your device to the headphones. It's just part of how Bluetooth works, and it may be possible in the future, but as of now, Bluetooth cannot play lossless audio files. Even if you're streaming a lossless audio file from your device, and it says on your device it's lossless, it's 24-bit, it's 192, it's whatever, even if it says that, at some point in the transmission to your Bluetooth headphones, it is being converted down to something that Bluetooth can handle. So you can listen to lossless files on Bluetooth, but they are not the lossless files that you think that they are. They might sound a little bit better, but for all intents and purposes, Bluetooth cannot do lossless. And I know that that's a subject that a lot of people like to argue about, but it is not possible at this moment. AirPods can't do it. AirPods Pro can't do it. AirPods Max can't do it. Sony has the LDAC codec that a lot of people think get close, but that's still not lossless. That's kind of the history of it and part of the why you might want to check this out. Now, a lot of people say, well, you can't tell the difference. You listen to a 320 kilobit file, an MP3, versus a lossless audio file, and you can't hear the difference. But the truth of the matter is, you can. And anybody can do it. It's just a matter of taking the time and really listening closely, really listening critically to be able to hear those differences. I've been working in audio as a musician, as an audio engineer, as doing all kinds of stuff for 35 years at this point. And I most definitely can hear the difference in a lossless audio file compared to an MP3, even a high quality MP3. I can hear the difference. Maybe not always. A lot of times it depends on the recording itself. If it's sort of a noisy recording that isn't high res in its own right, you're not going to hear a ton of difference, but you can definitely hear the difference in really good recordings when you go from lossy to lossless. If you are a music fan, that's something that you want to think about. Do you want to take the time and maybe a little bit of expense to get more out of your music listening experience? And ultimately, that's totally up to you. The reason that this also could be a new renaissance for music listening and appreciation is that millennials, Gen Z, all of these folks have grown up listening to lossy audio files. They've been used to listening to lossy audio files. They've never really been exposed to lossless audio unless they listened to a CD or unless they got into vinyl or something like that. And so this is a great opportunity for not just folks who grew up before those generations, but these generations to discover a new level of audio quality that they've never really had access to up until recently. The final question is how? How do I get this? I've got a lot of questions on a lot of my videos, like, can I take the earbuds that came with my iPhone and listen to lossless audio? I mean, theoretically, yes. With the Lightning port on an iPhone, you can get 24-bit, 48 kilohertz output. But those headphones don't sound great. They don't have the ability to really recreate the full range of frequencies necessary to appreciate lossless audio. If you really want to be able to appreciate lossless audio, you're going to have either headphones with a wire plugged into a headphone jack, on something, or you're going to have pretty decent speakers and a stereo system of some kind. I have made a couple of videos about, some options for things that you can get that are, some are more reasonably priced, some are a little bit more expensive, but they're not break the bank kind of expensive if this is something that you're really interested in. You can check out those videos right up here. I'm going to link them, and they'll be linked at the end of the video, so you can click on them and go to my playlist that has all of that stuff in it. I'm going to talk about this a lot more over the course of the next few months. There's a lot of detail. There's a lot of questions that people have about what is it, how can I get it, does it matter? But in my estimation, does lossless audio matter? Should you care? My answer is yes. My answer is, if you have the opportunity to hear music at its best possible quality, then you should take that opportunity. You can experience the emotional impact of music from anything, whether it's the earbuds that came with your iPhone or the broken speaker in the dashboard of an old pickup truck or whatever it is. The music will always come through. The power and the emotion of music is not something that relies on the technology that's reproducing it in order to have an impact, okay? You can get into music with just those cheap earbuds that you got with your iPhone, or the cheap earbuds that you bought from a gas station, or the broken speaker in an old pickup truck, or whatever. You can appreciate the emotional impact of music anywhere. Lossless audio is not necessary for that, but lossless audio is something that can greatly improve your music listening experience if that's something that you're interested in. I'm trying to provide as much information as I know and I feel as I can about this subject, but ultimately you're going to have to be the one to make the choice. Let me know what choice you're going to make down in the comments. Let me know what questions you might still have about lossless audio down in the comments, and we will discuss. Once again, if this is your first time here, then go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and all that kind of stuff. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back again. Thank you for being a part of the Wizard Squad. Check out the merchandise that's available down below. I have links to all the audio equipment and video equipment that I use down there if you're interested in that stuff, as well as links to all the other creative projects that I've done over the years. My name's Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I am out.